the4persons.com. The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help us, God.
On the phone with me, I got my good friend, William Hemsworth. William, how you doing this evening?
Doing okay. How are you?
Doing great. Just wanted to get your thoughts now that Lent has kicked off. Wanted to get your thoughts on what you would suggest for people who might be looking to make this a transformational Lent. A Lent where you truly transform and change as a person. Give me a couple of suggestions that you might give to somebody in that situation.
Well, I think for Lent, people are always looking for something to give up. I like to go the other route. What's something that you could take up? So maybe take up extra 10 minutes a day of reading scripture, take up saying a rosary or a divine mercy, or wake up 15, 20 minutes early just to pray, read the daily mass readings, pray for all those people that you said you were going to pray for but never did. That's kind of what I like to tell people about how to transform during Lent. Take up something to make it a habit.
Yeah, I like that. So it's basically it's forcing a new routine, and the counselors and people like that say that you have to repeat an exercise so many times before it becomes a habit, right?
Right, I think it's like 21 days before it becomes a habit, and guess what? There's 40 days of Lent. It's a perfect opportunity to do it.
So the new habits that you learn, that you teach yourself during Lent, can be carried forward into Easter and beyond through the rest of the year.
Rest of the year and the rest of your life to help you grow closer to our Lord every day.
God bless you, William. I appreciate the advice. Great advice. William Hemsworth, thank you very much.
All right, thank you, John.
God bless. Bye.
You too.
Bye. So I got my brother Louis Ogando on the line. Louis, how you doing tonight?
Good, and you, brother?
Doing good. So how was your Ash Wednesday today? How was your Lent kickoff today?
It was good. They kicked it out very quickly at my church. As soon as we started doing the ashes. I was a few minutes late, but it was an amazing experience. How was you, brother?
Mine was an amazing experience too. I got a real consolation at Mass today. Just that interior thought that comes into your heart, and I was just thinking about what a great preparation this Lent and Easter is going to be for my pilgrimage later on this year. What a great preparation that it's going to be. And a voice came to me. I didn't hear it audibly, but that voice you hear inside your mind, inside your heart, said to me, the pilgrimage starts today. It's not a preparation for the pilgrimage. The pilgrimage begins today. This is part of the pilgrimage, and the actual pilgrimage to Israel and the other three countries is going to be the apex of it. But the pilgrimage, the journey actually starts today. And the priest gave us a real challenge, rather than simply just deciding I'm going to give up this or I'm going to give up that. Most people give up something trite like chocolate or something meaningless. He asked us to say a prayer. We said a prayer out loud at Mass to ask Jesus to give us the cross that he desires to give us, the cross that will best fit us, that he has made perfected for us. And I just thought it was really, really powerful. It was a powerful service. So I was just talking to you a few minutes ago. You were telling me you were thinking about getting the Summa. And that's heavy reading. It is really intense. But while we're on the subject of Catholic reading, I wanted you to tell our audience, tell our listeners, and I think we did this before, but we're going to do it again. Just throw out some suggestions of books, of Catholic saints that if people are looking for recommended reading during Lent, throw out a few that you might recommend, Louis.
Well, I specialize in like crusade books from like the Catholic perspective, which is the true perspective. But outside of that, the Summa is a great place to start. There's also the Didache, which is only a few pages. I know the Catholic Church, we were planning to add it to the Bible, but since it wasn't, it was basically like a catechism, a very short catechism. We didn't. But the Didache is an amazing place to start, and I believe we do have a show on it already, right, John?
Yeah. Do you have any books by saints that you would recommend?
Yes. I'm logging into my list right now. Books by saints that I would recommend. Give me one small second to check up my purchase history. Well, books that I could recommend would have to be The New Concise History of the Crusades by, and he's very well respected in the Catholic world. He's not a saint, but he is a famous Catholic historian, Thomas Madden. Have you ever heard of him, John?
I have not.
He's amazing. He gets every core point of the Crusades from the Catholic perspective perfectly. Another Catholic writer that a lot of people don't recognize, but he's an amazing writer. And tell me if you've heard of him. He's Shisaku Endo. He was a Catholic writer from Japan that one of his books in the past 5-7 years was actually turned into a motion picture, Silence by Shisaku Endo. Have you ever seen that movie, John?
I have not.
It's an amazing movie. It shows you the sacrifice of being a missionary. The plot of the movie is two Jesuit priests go on a mission to Japan to convert the people, and one of them goes missing, and he has to make an extremely strong sacrifice. He abandons his faith, and it shows you how they got him to do it. Not that I'm encouraging doing that. That's not the point of the book. In summary, they force him to abandon the faith, not by going after him, but by going after his people. The priest never really does, though. But it's a painful story. It's Catholic storytelling in a different way. It shows you that just because you're a saint and just because you're a servant of God, you're not guaranteed this evangelical Christian happy, joy life. Because it kind of gets you to reflect on the differences between the true version of the gospel, which is the Catholic version, and what all these evangelical churches are trying to preach.
No, you are exactly right, and that is one of the things that we've really tried to push is this sugar water version of the gospel is not doing anybody any favors. It really isn't, because there's only one way to heaven, and that's the way of the cross.
Yes, you take up your cross and you have to make sacrifices, and you have to understand that you're not going to have a perfect life.
Right, exactly.
Some of us.
So what's the name of the book again?
It's simply called Silence, but you also, once you type in the title of the author's name, it'll come up. Silence by Shisaku Endo. Okay. And he's written a wonderful list of Catholic books. He's written, like, for example, The Life of Jesus Christ. He's written Kikyo's Prayer, which is, every book he writes is Catholic. It's about a Japanese woman that lived during the time of World War II, and how she was rejected by her people for being Catholic. He's he writes all these books that really show you the pain of being Catholic, but the beauty that comes out of it. And,
right. Yeah, it's almost paradoxical. It's the joy and the agony and the ecstasy all at once. They're really inseparable. Other than Aquinas, what are some other saints that you recommend that people read up on? I'm sure you've probably read a few.
Ignatius is probably one. He's the one that says that where the bishop is, there is the Catholic Church, and I use him a lot.
So that's Ignatius of Antioch.
Yeah, he's an amazing one. We don't have too much.
What do you think about the other Ignatius, Loyola? What do you think about him and his spiritual exercises?
I haven't gotten to reading about him yet, but I am interested in learning. I just recently learned more about the legend of St. Patrick. And I was St. Patrick, which we venerate in this month. Turns out that, unless I'm getting him wrong with a different St. Patrick, but to my knowledge, and correct me if I'm wrong, there's only one St. Patrick of Ireland, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that's the only one that I'm aware of.
Yeah, so this is about him, but during his time, his country, Ireland, was ruled by pagans, specifically Druids, that believed that they could they worship nature and sacrifice people and animals. So he started out as a non-believer that was cast out of his country, but then through the grace of Christ, he was converted and decided to become a Catholic priest and then eventually a bishop. Did you know that the ruler of Ireland, I almost forgot the name, was once a pagan Druid, and that he challenged St. Patrick to a spiritual duel. He summoned, he did a supernatural duel. The ruler of Ireland, because he was a Druid, he was demonic. All of these people are basically, devil worshippers at the end of the day. They worship Satan. He used his powers to conjure up demons. And St. Patrick, because, he's a bishop, he did the opposite. He called on the power of God and commanded the demons to be sent away. And that caused the death of the ruler of Ireland. And his successor was so amazed he converted to the Catholic faith and legalized Catholicism in Ireland.
Wow.
Isn't that an amazing story?
It is an amazing story, and we have an amazing web faith and an amazing website, and we're just doing so many great things right now, and it's just taken off, and I'm just so happy to have you as part of it, and I wanted to thank you for your input tonight.
I only want to do more. That's all I really want. To just kind of add something more, you're probably going to agree with John. Michael Lofton, and this does relate to our topic, you know how we mentioned that the evangelicals typically want an easy gospel? They want a watered-down gospel that gives them all the benefits of being a Christian with none of the sacrifices. Michael Lofton did a very strongly related video criticizing evangelical Christian media, and how awful it is, like, in terms of storytelling, in terms of, selling the message of sacrifice. Did you see the video yet?
I have not, but it definitely sounds interesting.
He made a great video. It's almost like the God's Not Dead movies that were made by the evangelical Christians. They're so easy and anti-full of, the Christian life. But if you compare those movies to Catholic movies, like, The Lord of the Rings, and you do know that the writer was a devout Catholic,
Oh, yeah, of course, yes. J.A.R. Tolkien was one. In fact, J.A.R. Tolkien was instrumental in the conversion of C.S. Lewis into the Christian faith. Did you know that?
I did, and that he shows you how to write a good Christian, story. One that is cheesy, one that is informed, created to to try to sell like a false gospel of the prosperity and having success.
Yeah. He showed what the Christian faith really looks like.
Exactly, and he did it in a way that even atheists, if you can believe it, respect that story.
Yeah.
So it goes to show you, the difference between the true gospel, which is how we Catholics tell it, and this versus this watered down gospel that teaches people that they could have it all. Basically, they can have all the pleasures of living in the physical world now, and all the benefits of what's to come. I mean, you can have
heaven on earth and heaven in heaven too. That's what their gospel teaches, and of course, it's a false gospel.
It is.
Louis, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you taking time to give us your input. Thank you.
No problem. God bless you, brother.
God bless you, brother. On the phone with friend of the program, Judson Carroll. Judson, how you doing? We haven't talked in a while.
Yeah, pretty good. How you doing?
Doing real good. So you're getting Lent started off right, and you messaged me about a special that you're running for Lent. Why don't you talk to our listeners about it?
Yeah, so this will be the second year in a row. This will be the second annual Lenten book giveaway, and well, if any of y'all follow me, or if you don't know me, I have written now, I guess, 15 books. I do 6 months in advance. I'll do reflections on the daily Mass readings. Other Catholic books include my conversion story, confirmation, autobiography of faith, and also I'm a master herbalist, so I've written a lot of books on herbs, and I've got at least 2 that have a lot of Catholic crossover. I've got the Christian history of herbal medicine and the herbs and weeds of Father Johann Kunzel. So, if anybody wants a free ebook for yourself or to give to somebody else, or if you know somebody who might want one, all you got to do is email me at judson@judsoncarroll.com. Tell me what you want. I'll send it to you as a PDF. That's JUDSON@JUDSONCARROLL.com.
Judson, let's talk about what you do a little bit. It's no secret in our day and time that there's a lot of stuff going around as far as medicines and medications and different things that they're putting in our food, and a lot of these chemicals and additives and medicines are not making us healthy, are they? They're in fact they're doing just the opposite, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. We've just gotten through the confirmation of Robert Kennedy Jr. and those hearings, and one thing I wish he had said in answer to people like, what's his name, the senator from Louisiana was giving him such a hard time, and several of the Democrats. The leading cause of death in America is not cancer, it's not heart disease, it's not obesity, it's not car accidents, it's not gun deaths, or however they put it, when you get shot. It's actually medical malpractice, abuse, and overprescription. Doctors kill more people than any criminal in America. Doctors kill more people than any accident. Doctors kill more people than any disease. Most of them try to do their best, but we've just got so many medications now. And, for instance, my grandmother was on some heart medication. She had a heart attack. She was put on some blood thinners and some diuretics and different things. And her doctor went out of town. The doctor that filled in for him gave her a prescription that she shouldn't have had. He didn't check her chart. And she took the medication that was prescribed, and even though family members said, wait a minute, are you sure about this? The nurses said, yeah, go ahead and give it to her, and it poisoned her, and she died. She absolutely died of toxicity. Another uncle had an issue, went in for a spinal tap. They botched it. He was paralyzed, and eventually his lungs shut down. Got a great uncle who went in for a prostate surgery, and the surgeon was drunk and cut his artery, and he bled to death. And I could go on. I mean, that's literally
give me
every
numbers.
member.
Give me some numbers of deaths related to overprescription and malpractice.
I'm sorry, I don't have those right at hand. I'm just on my phone,
Okay.
and actually my laptop died today. So
okay.
I spent all day backing up files for the next 3 books I'm writing, so I can't even look something up while we're talking.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
But the reason why I was asking for rough numbers is because I honestly think that you're kind of understating the problem, because you're referring to direct deaths. You're referring to direct deaths that are caused by overprescription, but you're not even dealing with the collateral deaths that are caused by, for instance, overprescriptions of these SSRIs have been linked to a rise in these violent school shootings.
Yes, they have, absolutely.
And overprescriptions of different medicines have disrupted people's sleeping patterns in a way that has caused an increase in car accidents, people falling asleep at the wheel. Yeah. There's all kinds of collateral deaths on top of the direct deaths that you're talking about. Even medicines that are affecting the way that we process food. Medicines that are causing situations with the way that our heart and our brains are working. And when you look at all of those direct and indirect deaths and lives altered, negatively altered, it's a real problem. And what you're basically advocating and pushing for is, let's go back to nature. Let's go back to the Bible. Let's go back to the way that it was, that we have plants and herbs and things in nature that God provided for us to deal with a lot of the things that ail us. Am I right in describing it?
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. I mean, there are so many things that are, secondary causal factors. I mean, we didn't really hear anything about lactose intolerance, gluten intolerance, anything along those lines, except with someone actually had that genetic lactose intolerance, like some, certain Asian groups have, or celiac disease proper. So what happened? Well, everybody started taking antibiotics all the time, and antibiotics killed all the good gut bacteria. Meanwhile, we also started spraying our fields with, Roundup and other chemicals that stay in those grains, and even when they're turned into flour and they're turned into cornflakes, go in there, and they're herbicides in your system, just as they're herbicides in the field. And now suddenly we're like, wow, where did this come from? Suddenly nobody can drink milk or eat bread, right? Meanwhile, the nutritional value of wheat has decreased by over 90% from where it was in 1900. And some people say that's, it's even way worse than that. We just bulked it up with a lot of fertilizers, pumped a lot of water into those grains, make them bigger. And meanwhile, there's lower protein levels, lower minerals, lower B vitamins, and everything that's in grain. So, it's a big thing. It's a big picture thing. But really, there were some really great Catholic priests in the 1800s, especially late 1800s, right around 1900 to let's say 1890 and 1920, that saw all this happening, and they wrote great books about how to go out and identify the plants that God intended you to eat and use for medicine. Men like Father Nape, Father Johann Kunzel, Brother Aloysius, and there's this whole really Catholic system of diet, nutrition. Father Nape was actually a really interesting guy. He was not just an herbalist, but he had tuberculosis, and he came up with a system of cold water baths to strengthen his immune system, cured himself from tuberculosis. And so his classic book is called My Water Cure. That's very popular today. Like if you look at the Wim Hof and all these guys with the cold water treatments, it's knowledge that's been around for thousands of years. I mean, the ancient Jews say that, the archangel, Raphael gave them knowledge of herbal medicine, So, I mean, it's not like it's anything new, but it's a lot of things that we've forgotten. So I try pretty hard to preserve those things.
All right. Well, thank you for your time, Judson. Got to have you back on the show soon.
All right. Look forward to it. Have a good one.
God bless you, brother.
You as well.